Hey everybody, Comic Cowboy here today, and I am producing more video lately than water off a duck's ass, and it's all for your viewing pleasure. The last video I did, I had a nice stack of pre-code horror books, and now I pulled out a sample of all raw. That's what we're looking at these days. It's great to look at the slabs, but it's great to hold the books in hand, maybe look at some of the pages, some of the interior art, or just actually have the experience of holding the book in your hands is what we're going to do today. I've got a sampling here of some Golden Age and some Silver Age. I think for the most part, raw books here. I'm going to talk about why I bought them, why I thought they were interesting, what piqued my interest, and if applicable, I'll talk about some of the investing prospects of some of these titles, some of these books, some of these covers. Hey, subscribe, give me a like, and also your comments have been great. I'm getting a lot of comments on this channel. I know it's a niche channel. But what matters is the audience, not the numbers. And I can tell you, this is a really great set of folks that are watching the videos and commenting. I read all of them, and I learn from you. So feel free to continue to share your thoughts. What are you collecting? What do you think's cool? What do you think of the books I'm going to share with you today in this video? Do you have any of them? Do you intend to buy any of them? What you think of them? And this is in no order. We're just going to look at some books. I think a lot of YouTube channels, to sort of, give a vote for this one, we're always looking at the books in hand, always. I think I could sit here and opine and open up screens, but we're actually going to look at the books. Everything you see today is in my personal collection, and I think that's fun. So if you want to share in the comments what it is that you have or what you're keen on these days, do so. I'm looking forward to that. So we're going to start you off again. There is no rhyme or reason into what you're seeing today other than their raw books and probably mostly Golden and some Silver Age too. Here's a book that I'm keen on. It's Fantastic Four 33. Not only is it kind of a cool book just to begin with, somewhat earlier in the run, or I guess the middle of the run. This is the first appearance of Ultima, which is right here, and he's a major adversary of our friend Namor the Submariner. So there's a little bit of spec here. Sure, you can't go wrong with a book of this stature anyway. It's not that expensive, and if this guy shows up, Namor that is, in the next Black Panther film, I'm pretty sure to believe that there's at least some over-under of Ultima showing up in there as well, especially if the Submariner makes his long-awaited appearance in the MCU, in the films. He is the oldest hero in all of Marvel Comics, appeared in Marvel Comics #1. Way back when, switching Marvel to DC and back and forth, gold and silver. Here's a cool book. It's All American 26. It's a cool book in and of itself by the cover and the depiction of the lantern here, but I also picked it up because this is the first appearance of Sargon the Sorcerer. Who's he? He's a guy in the Justice League Dark. So he's kind of a relevant hero to today, or anti-hero, and his first appearance is in this book. It's kind of hard to come by. Here it is in really nice condition. I didn't slab it because, like I said, some of these books I just don't intend to resell them or consign them or what have you, and I just like having the books in hand. Typically speaking, unless I'm going to consign or sell the book, if I pick it up raw, I keep it that way. Over time, I found that if your collection is all slabs, you're going to miss the tactile experience of holding the older comics in hand. I got serious FOMO when I went to a collector's house and he had long box after long box, not of garbage, but of valuable pre-code horror material from the Golden Age, Silver Age. And it's exciting to see because that's not in the CGC census, obviously, but those are copies out there in the wild. They still exist. And there is something exhilarating about finding a collection of valuable, sought-after, rare books that have not yet gone off to be slabbed. So here's a book, speaking of which, you don't see too often these days in really nice condition that are not slabbed, because this book's gone up quite a bit. Marvel Spotlight 5, first appearance of the Ghost Rider. I'm not sure why the book has climbed so much lately, maybe just because all these bronze keys have. but that's a good book. I like it. Here's a book that I caught really right before it started to take off. It's Jim 84, first appearance of Jane Foster, whom will take up the anvil apparently in the next Thor film, and of course the second appearance of Thor. I got this book raw off Heritage not that long ago, and the prices have gone up and up and up. It's a cool book and a great cover. And since Jim 83 and also 85 with first appearance of Thor, first appearance of Loki have gotten so expensive, this was a good alternative for a minute, and now it's really taken off. I don't have a lot of these Disney, Dell, 4-color, etc. type books, but a friend of mine had a stack that he was looking to sell, and I thought, why not? I'll pick them up. They're actually quite cool. I don't know this category. I think it's an awesome category with so many amazing covers. And the thing about these books, maybe not this one in particular, it depends if Carl Banks wrote the material. The stories in here are not only readable, they're great. So do not dismiss the fact this looks like children's humor or something for young people. The stories are just really clever, well written, really cool stuff that's often overlooked. The people that collect this stuff, they know it quite well. I don't. Here's a book that's kind of just got an interesting cover. That's probably why I picked it up, this Marvel Family 77. I think all the Marvel Family stuff, whether it's Shazam or Mary Marvel, despite the fact that there was one really good film, this material is undervalued. I think it's really cool. This is just a great kind of grotesque type of horror cover here that I thought was cool. Oh wow, this stack's just really every genre, and maybe that's cool. That is the case, because you're gonna see a wide range here in this sort of wine sampling of comic books, right? There's just the whole gamut of genres. Here's horror. No, this is actually, beg your pardon. This is a war comic, but maybe it's so horrific that I thought it was horror. It's Spy Fighters number 10. Usually with the war stuff, I like to get flamethrower covers. People get torched. They just tend to go for more money, and the covers are just more dramatic and violent and gruesome. And I guess there's a subset of people that collect war that like flamethrower covers. I would be one of those people. Here's a genre I typically do not collect, but I think it's actually pretty cool. You got to pick your genres. You can't cover every single genre. Maybe you can. I can't. I got to focus and learn my pre-code horror. I got to know all my superhero stuff. I got to know war. I got to know all the different eras. I got to know keys, covers. And so I've kind of neglected romance. But this book's really cool. It's Popular Teenagers Love, Secrets of Love, issue number 11, with this just really iconic L.B. Cole cover. I mean, this is just a great piece of artwork, and I love that I have a copy. I should read this stuff. I have no idea if it's just really kind of ridiculous given the genre, or maybe it's well written. I have no idea. Opening this up, the interior artwork is fantastic. This book is in just phenomenal shape, and as you can see from the interior, there is a lot of text. This looks like to be pretty dense storytelling, and this was not intended to serve the same audience that read Archie comics. This is for a slightly older female demographic from the 1950s. Could be teenagers, young adults. Today we call the genre young adult. But that's kind of interesting. I actually may read that and see what the hell it's about. Have a beer and read some 1950s romance comic books. I can tell you what, your neighbor's not doing that. So you know what? Get in on the secret that this is material that you're not going to pick up at the bookstore or off Amazon.com, and it has not been reprinted. So I'm kind of fascinated. I'll report back in maybe the next video what I thought of the interior and of the story, but it looks interesting. Here we go with some bats. This Golden Age Batman material, issue number 55 with the Joker cover here. is difficult to get raw in good condition. People tend to get these books slabbed, obviously for the one reason being, if you're going to sell it, it's going to command a nice price once you know what the condition of the book is. I got this raw off the CGC boards, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and I've held it ever since. No reason to slab it, in my opinion. I may read it. I dabbled in trying to get into collecting Katie Keene a while ago. I saw it as basically an alternative to the more expensive Archie books or the Ginger books. Some of the Ginger books got pricey. Katie Keene's relatively inexpensive. The artwork's cool. This guy Bill Wagon did almost all the covers, all the interior artwork as well, and the storytelling's good. This is not Riverdale. It's for the era it was intended to be read in, which is the sort of early to mid 1950s. But it's cool. These books are cheap. They're kind of awesome. It's a relic of the day. You know what I mean? It's an artifact of a time long gone by, when folks would go to the corner store and with 10 cents buy a copy of Katie Keene. And here's this cowboy, 50 years later on a YouTube channel talking about it, and it's still inexpensive to buy. I've got a lot of Blue Beetle. Obviously, I've done numerous videos on the Blue Beetle. I continue to be like super bullish on the Blue Beetle. It's undervalued still today, right? HBO Max is going to do a television series on the Blue Beetle with Jamie Reyes, which is the most recent version of the Blue Beetle. It's one of those heroes that over the years, many folks have donned the costume. It's gone through many iterations. In some sense, as the Flash has, the Beetle has gone through even more. So there's the original Blue Beetle in the Fox line that opened, I believe, in 1939, so not too long after the introduction of Batman and Superman. This guy came on the scene, and you know what? He's been hanging, right? This dude's been hanging on all these years, all these heroes that have come and gone and bit the dust, all his contemporaries like the Blue Terror or the Green Mask, all left into the sands and the dust of time. And the Blue Beetle will be on HBO Max. The Blue Beetle will all potentially be paired up with Booster Gold in a film. This hero matters, and you can still pick up these books almost like Shazam, surprisingly, relatively cheap. Like this, a mid-grade copy from 1946, issue number 44, probably can find off eBay. Buy it now. $75-100, something like that. Here's a book I bought a lot of copies of. It's Captain Marvel Adventures, number 26. I think I've spoken about this book in prior videos. It's cool. It's got the American flag, and it's got the introduction of the villain that I'm actually forgetting now. And since I don't edit these videos, I'm not going to pause, go online, and cut it back in. But it's basically the little worm that's going to be the villain in the next Shazam film, shows up in the jail cell at the end of the first movie, is introduced in this book, or at least CGC recognizes it as the first appearance. So that's cool. We're getting to these Disney 4-color books. These are great. Apparently, covers with the duck here, with Donald Duck, are more valuable. I don't know this genre. Again, they're really great, well-written stories. Not for your 10-year-old, but for you to sit back, relax, and enjoy. And you'll be the better for it, for reading this stuff, because this is really clever. And it's funny. I was surprised how much I enjoyed these books. And I think there's just a lot of wit to them. There's a lot of really interesting story plots. And you would be surprised to find that to be the case. This is not something like Moana, where you may be, nodding off or you hear a good song. Like, this is really clever writing, when all the writer had at that time was their imagination and a pen and paper, and came up with this great stuff. Here's a book I got off a buddy of mine. I usually don't buy Action Comics. Here's an early issue, number 26. Kind of a cool cover. It's a beater. And I'm going to pause here and talk a little bit about Action Comics and Superman in particular. And I'm going to make a statement here, which I think is very much true and applies to almost all these books, all the Action Comics and Superman, the two lines. And I guess I'm giving away a trade secret, but it's so obvious that I'm not worried about sharing with you. And I think, if anything, on this channel, I want to share with you what it is I know. Maybe it benefits you. And in the comments, you've got something to share yourself. I'll learn from you, as I said at the top of the video, which I like quite a bit. So here's the thing. These books are undervalued. Simply put, they have been for years. And I think part of the reason is we haven't had a Superman film in many years, and we've had not so great Superman films when we did have them. And these books have just really sat there. You can buy early Action Comics with Superman on the cover reasonably priced, meaning what you're paying in today's prices are pretty similar to what you've been paying a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. In some cases, the books have even come down. They've kind of been, as they say in investment circles, a walking corpse. You know what I mean? We're waiting for the pulse, and it just keeps moving forward without going up or down. These are great. Superman will have his day, I guarantee you. He is one of the most important superheroes ever created. Just the fact that he's not on television today in any really relevant, interesting way. There's Supergirl, which is a cool series. And I like Action 252, First Appearance of Supergirl. It's a great book, also undervalued. But these Action Comics, when you consider how important they are, how scarce and rare they are, while everyone's, chasing contemporary keys, or the first appearance of Venom, or sort of amazing Spider-Man books from the 1980s. Like, this stuff is in way shorter supply. So if it ever heats up, this book, people are going to go after the 30, 40 copies that are out there. Of course, here it is raw. Love it. Here's another book I'd advise you to go pick up, get a copy. I'll just go out on a limb. I'll be goat if I'm wrong in this one. This is sort of a can't miss book for a lot of reasons. One, it's the first silver appearance of the Blue Beetle from 1964, Charlton, which went out of business, and DC acquired all the IP. And that's why we have the Blue Beetle today, is because DC bought all the characters, and they thought the Blue Beetle was interesting, and they kept publishing the books along with the Question and some other heroes from that line. So this book is less plentiful than, I'll give you a comp, Avengers 4, first Silver Age appearance of Captain America. Now, the Blue Beetle, of course, is nowhere near the stature of Captain America, but nevertheless, this book, if you look at the census report, is significantly harder to find than Avengers 4. Significantly, at a fraction of the price. So what are the keys that people are going to want when they finally discover this show on HBO Max about the Blue Beetle with Jamie Reyes, which will get a lot of marketing, a lot of PR. We may even get Booster Gold. We might even get a movie. What are they going to look for? The first Golden Age appearance, which is in Mystery Men Comics #1, forget about it. There's probably 35 books in the census, and you're starting at about 4,000 just to get into that book at the bottom. You're looking at Blue Beetle #1 from 1939, which there's also less than 50 copies. There's not a lot of keys when you're talking about the Blue Beetle. And Jamie Reyes comes much later. He comes, I believe, in the early 2000s. It's the first Silver Age appearance of the Beetle. You can go probably on eBay right now, look for a raw copy in very good or fine condition, under a couple $100 raw. There are slab copies. The highest graded is a 9.8. I didn't know there was a 9.8 in existence. I have two 9.6s, and at the time I bought the 9.6, it was the highest graded, in the census. So I thought I had top grade, which is really hard to find with this particular book. You also have to imagine that the printing standards at, gosh, is this Charlton? Yeah, this is Charlton. We're not at the quality level of Marvel or DC. So the page quality is not that great. The bindings is not as terrific. It's not as, the paper stock is not as good. So higher grade copies of something that wasn't really collected too widely, did have his own line, is pretty rare and hard to come by. So get into this book. I think it's a good investment. I thought I'd point that out. Maybe get one. If you get one in 8.0 or 7.0, that's great. 9.0 is really tough to find with this particular book, but a nice mid-grade, nice 5.5 to 7.0, it's a good place to be. Hey, that'll do ya. I hope you liked the video. Again, we just fired through some raw comic books for your viewing pleasure. Leave some comments. Tell me what you're into these days. If you're not subscribing yet, please do so. Then you get notifications from YouTube and a bag of potato chips or whatever they do when you subscribe. And I hope you enjoy. Laters.